they make in this building. From the smallest molding to the biggest wide crown molding you can buy. Here, pick it up, put it over there, take it to the machine. Now they drop it on this conveyor, it automatically fills. The rough lumber, come on up to this point. These arms would raise it up, dump it off onto this table. This table would feed on back in the conveyor coming into the plant. These wheels, this spiral shape, hold it tight against the back. As that board came through, it depended on what they were going to make. Just say they're going to make 1x6 center match. They'd go and change the cutter head in this machine to a 1x6 center match. When that rough board came in this side, came out the other side, it was a 1x6 center match ready to go. It was playing all four sides of the board at one time. Now when this mill first started, everything on site ran off of steam. We'll see the big steam engine over the next door that ran all this equipment.
They have a line shaft in here or something, or
underneath.
Underneath.
The boilers over on the other side, the big fan you see up overhead, that's all the sawdust and shaving from each machine and blew it across to the powerhouse where they made the steam. Now in the mid-50s, they converted from steam to electricity. And instead of tying into the power company, they went and bought two big steam-operated generators, made their own electricity with the sawdust and shaving. Now when they converted to electricity, they did put electric motors on the planer.
So that would have been a big flywheel there before probably, or something.
Yeah, I don't know why they would have done it rather than run it off the line shaft like they did before. Because at one time, this ran off of the steam engine next door until they converted to electricity. When you go through and look at this stuff, just imagine back in 1900 with no computers, no communication. Most of this stuff came up north, these old big machines. How in the world they found all that stuff and put this place together, I don't know. But anyway, this belt would bring the boards on down. These little arms on it would divert it off onto this table. And then come on down to the end of it. Now this is a trap door that goes down underneath. They had two saw filing shops. They had a guy that filed the saws and knives for everything in the planer mill, and then they had one in the sawmill playing all the saws in the sawmill. So we'll go down underneath and look in the saw filing shop too. Now when we took this over to the museum, they closed in '69, and in 1996 we opened up as a museum. Only the front part. When we got it as a museum, from the parking lot, you couldn't even see these buildings. As it grew up, they actually cut logs out of around the buildings. Now when they ran everything by steam, the line shaft is underneath, and when this guy got ready to turn his machine on, at the end of this rope is a counterweight. He'd pick it up, let that counterweight go down. It's loose from the counterweight now, but that counterweight would tighten that belt up and turn it on. He got ready to turn it off, he just pull it up, take the tension off, and turn it off.
That's the off and on.
But this little molding machine made their smaller type molding. This machine would take the big timbers like that and slice it up into little thin board to be used for molding. This one, they could adjust the blade back and forth, and they'd take a timber like that and just slice it up in a little thin board, and that's what they'd make the molding out of. This little resaw bandsaw was used to, if the board was too long or if it had a bad end on it, they'd trim it off with this bandsaw. And back in them days, everybody had wood stoves and wood heaters, and they would sell the little short pieces of board down in the commissary for stove wood. So what they didn't need to burn in the furnace for fuel, they sold it. As they cut the little pieces of small molding, this is their little troughs they put it in, separated different sizes, different grade. And back in them days, they just take a piece of hay string and tie it with hay string instead of having a strap binding stuff like we got today. And they still, a lot of the lumber up in the lumber shed that has the hay string around it. There was the shipping clerk's office, and the railroad, this is where they would load the lumber out of the planer mill on the box cars. And then they just went by his office. We built a track around the museum and took this rail up and used it on a new track we put out. What they did, this piece sticking up, the little cart they pushed it back here on, they pushed it down. After the wheel hit that, it would stop. Then they just loaded right on into the box car. This is the line shaft that runs back on into the steam engine. When they convert it to electricity, this is the motor they put on it to run everything except the main planer. But the roundhouse. Just to look at that, it looks just like two gears out from under a vehicle, don't it? Yeah. In the rear end. The difference in them, this one is an all metal wheel. This one has wooden teeth in it. And the purpose of that was, if this saw or some of the rest of them got in a bind, instead of twisting this shaft in two, you just strip them out.
Sacrificial gear.
Yep.